the reasons why I'm such a big fan of Tyson and so amazed by his results in the ring is because his results in the ring is a product of his training. In fact, to be honest, his training footage is far more incredible and supreme to watch than his boxing footage. He trained like a machine, this man, and his training is very unique and way ahead of its time in boxing. The way Tyson trained back then is the way a lot of boxers are training now. And some of the skills he developed in the gym were so phenomenal that they couldn't even find a sparring partner for him. They struggled. They struggled to find opponents that could last more than a couple of rounds in the ring. And in the gym, they struggled to get good sparring partners because he'd hit them very hard. And you'd have to pay him a lot of money. Paying them a lot of money because not every guy's going to want to do that, get battered and feel a lot of pain just to help get a guy in shape. So I'm so inspired by Tyson when I see his training. It's absolutely unbelievable, the training, and you can see why he was so successful. And it inspires me because I realize now what is possible in life if you put the time in. If I put the time in my music, I could be a phenomenal musician. If I put the time in with exercising and eating healthy, I can improve my body. I can see the results. When you see somebody training the way he did, so consistently, they built him slowly and gradually. Mato worked on his mind and worked on his mental ability, his psychology, his spiritual side, the emotional side. He developed that in Tyson. So that Tyson, even though he always said he was very fearful in the ring, he controlled that fear and he learned how to put that fear onto his opponent. It's an amazing skill that he had at such a young age. It was unstoppable. And you have to understand that it's not just about how good Tyson was, it's how good Tyson became. How did he become so good? A lot of people say it's natural, he was born big, etc. But Tyson trained very hard and he had a decent physique. And Tyson never did a lot of weight training. He never did any real weight training early in his career, only a lot later on, when he's a much more mature fighter. So that was pure using your body weight training. Sit-ups, press-ups, jogging from 5 o'clock in the morning, doing 6 miles, he said. Incredible. So it shows what we can achieve in life. When I see Tyson train, it makes me want to train. It makes me want to work hard and do things. What's my craft? What's my skill? What's my vision? I want to work that hard too, consistently, daily, diligently, work hard at it until I become great in what I want to do. That's very important to me, you see. So I love looking at his training footage, specifically with obviously Kevin Rooney. Tyson was incredible on the punchback, and he was great to watch. I'm most amazed on the pads, working with Kevin Rooney on the pads, working on his footwork, working on combination on the pads. And then I love when Kevin Rooney was toughening up Mike Tyson by hitting him with the heavy ball in his in his body, to toughen up his body. It's amazing to watch the discipline that Tyson had back then, the discipline and consistency and the tenacity in his training, the ferocity in training was great to see. The aggression in sparring. There was one footage where he was sparring with a guy and they was meant to stop. The guy stopped boxing the opponent stop boxing, and Tyson still was punching him and knocked the guy clean on the floor. He's amazing to watch in the gym. Hard work, consistent work. You have to understand that the peekaboo style that Tyson mastered takes a lot of energy to do that. That's why he only did it in bursts throughout his fights. He didn't obviously keep up that defense the whole time, because it's very difficult to bob and weave and move around like that, and move your head and fight so low down for the whole fight. That's why Joe Frazier, to me, is probably one of the most extraordinary fighters in history, because he can bob and weave with Muhammad Ali for 15 rounds. He could continuously go up and down, up and down. He never moved left or right much, but he always fight going low, low down, and it bounced up and down, low, below Muhammad Ali's punches. But this guy kept that up for 15 rounds. Tyson never could do that. He had great defense, but most of that energy came in the first 2 to 3 rounds. Then after that, it'd be in bursts. He would slow right down, and occasional combinations, etc. So it's amazing. His training in the gym, and I think his training footage is one of the most watched training footage on YouTube, and the most exciting and the most motivating to see. It's really incredible. If you love fighting, if you love sports, if you like being physical and just keeping in shape, or you just want to motivate yourself for life, you watch some Tyson training footage and you'll always be inspired. And that was the secret behind his great ability. He had a phenomenal system, and he mastered it. He mastered it. Now, we all know about Tyson's skill depreciation just after leaving Kevin Rooney, if you're a real Tyson fan like myself. And I found out recently that Tyson's trainer, from the Frank Bruno fight onwards, it wasn't with him forever. He had a few trainers. I can't remember his name. Big white guy, moustache. Gujetti or something like that. I'm sure you all know him. I heard that he actually talked against Mato's style, and he believed that Mato was a fraud. And now that makes sense to me now, why Tyson obviously wasn't taught in the same way. I guess he would have with a different trainer, and why those peekaboo, incredible defensive skills and style diminish the very next fight after Kevin Rooney, which was the first Frank Bruno fight. So that makes sense now, why Tyson abandoned that style so much, because he got hit more in the Frank Bruno fight than a lot of his fights combined, and even Bill Caton said that. So his style was unique, and he mastered it through hard, consistent work. Kevin Rooney was a master at maintaining the style that Cus developed, and Tyson worked hard, was fighting very often anyway, and was a master at evading punches. And that's what I'm saying, that when you watch the footage, it makes you want to get in shape, because it's beautiful footage. How he was in the punch bag, and Tyson doing sit-ups. He was amazing on the skipping rope as well. Tyson was phenomenal. He would have a whole crowd around him. His footage on YouTube with a whole crowd around him, watching him do certain skills with a skipping rope. He really was great at keeping himself in shape and in top form. It's a pity it didn't last, but that's natural. When you get older and you do become heavyweight champion, and your fights now are once or twice a year compared to when he was fighting every month, of course his skills are going to go down, because you're fighting less for a start, which means you're training less. So Tyson really motivates, not the man Tyson, his character, his mind, but his training really motivates me, because I can see the results in the ring and why he was so unbelievably fantastic. I said not the man Tyson, not the mind, because I think he's a very confused individually. He has no real direction. In the 80s, he said he was a Christian, and in the 90s, he said he was a Muslim. Now his God seems to be, is it cannabis? This thing that he's growing. Uh, I think it's ridiculous. I don't like that at all. He has no sense of real direction or leadership. He never capitulated on his incredible history and background and his very name and used it to inspire people today. He could have set up a company. I know he had a promotion, Mike Tyson promotion, for a while, where he's trying to help other boxers. That was good. I don't think he's doing that anymore. He could have did so much with his celebrity, uh, and tried to carry on his name somehow. I don't know. I mean, yes, he's been in various movies, fighting, which is great. He was a huge name back in boxing, but I think he could have did more. And especially as a financial man myself that loves to save money, he never had any financial intelligence. So he could have been a lot more wealthy. He spent more money on cars and jewelry than we do on houses, which is ridiculous. So he could have built wealth by getting into property and investing his money properly. He would have had a lot left over. He would never have become bankrupt. But now I think he's only worth about a couple of million, a million, of a few million, when he actually blew 400 million in 10 years. So I'm very disappointed in the man that he is now, even though most people say he's in a better place now and all that. Yeah, he's a better place, but he has no real value system. I mean, for me as a Christian guy that has strong, concrete, rigid, very clear values that all comes from the Bible, then I can't accept his values that seem to waver with the different people he speaks to in interviews and how he feels at the time. He's still angry, he's still hurt, he's still upset about the past. He never likes to talk about his boxing life and his past. He just never wants to accept it. But he doesn't realize how many people is inspired, how many people still love him, which he's very lucky because he was terrible after the second Holyfield defeat. His attitude went down the toilet, and he started swearing and being very degrading in interviews, and that could have damaged his career forever. And a lot of people, probably to this day, don't even want to watch him just because of that period. But before that, he was very professional. And after he calmed down, I guess after the Lennox Lewis defeat, I noticed he calmed down and he was more consistent in interviews and more professional in and out of the ring. So I do love Tyson as an individual, and I obviously understand his very quick rise to fame at a young man. And I know the people that really cared about him all died away one by one, and the vultures came in. So we can't really expect Tyson to, be this great businessman and be a wise person that can just really handle himself properly. But you have to learn sometime, and I think Tyson is still a typical example of black men that's just loose in the world and not captured by Christianity, that can give men the right values, because Christianity is too busy being some silly feministic, entertaining kind of cultic industry, money making industry that it is today. So people like Mike Tyson, kind of slip through the net. We need men like him. We need men like him with influence, and we need to go after these men and save these men. I got way off subject here because this talk was supposed to be about Tyson and how he influences my life with his incredible training footage. But every time I see Tyson talk, it just bothers me, because I'm saying I want him to be saved. I want him to give his life to Jesus Christ. I don't want him to lose his soul. I want him to stick to one wife. He's had multiple wives, and build a family and be an example to other men. and try and build off his celebrity, try and build off his success in boxing, and use the name to make money again. Because I believe if Tyson was really smart, he could have made millions more, even not boxing, from his name. He could have did more exhibition fights. He could have made training videos and teach people his style. He could have did so much because his name is so huge, and even to today, he's so revered. His YouTube views on YouTube are through the roof. People will always watch it 10, 20, 50 years from now. So he can capitalize on that. Ali would have did the same thing after he retired had he not been sick. There's a lot of things he could have did. I mean, he did so many appearances, but it wasn't as effective because he couldn't express himself. He couldn't use his incredible gift of talking that he had when he was younger because of his Parkinson. So that really held him back. And the older he got, the sicker he got, and all he could do is just be on a show and just be shaken, and it's more embarrassing than anything else. Lennox Lewis and Chris Eubank and some of those men after they've retired were seem to have had more of a level head. They've kept their wealth, some of them, and they've gone into commentating on fights, and especially like people like Sugar Ray Leonard, who was commentating for years, and I didn't even realize it was him until I just clicked. Wait a minute, many of Tyson's fights, Sugar Ray Leonard was commentating on it. So he did very well after his career. So Tyson will always inspire me with his incredible training footage. It's out of this world. And I try and focus on him as a fighter, as a boxer, and not the man he is today. Because what he is today is not inspiring. Many people say it's great, he's in a better place, but no, his career was a tough one. And I understand all the terrible things people try to do and use him and take his money and etc. But it's that incredible performance in the ring and in the gym that will always capture the imaginations of generation to generation. And it's a shame that to Tyson himself, he hates that past. He hates those memories. He doesn't even want to think about it. It's a shame. I think Tyson should go back to his roots and accept who he was, what he was, the greatest fighter of the modern era. He should embrace it. He should love it. Think of the good times back then, because it couldn't all been bad, and just be grateful for it. Thank God for it, and make something of it, because the Tyson era has not ended. It's still marketable, and he should make money from it and sell it and use it and do something with it to help other young black men. That's my opinion anyway. This is Nigel Burnett from the UK. Have a fantastic day.